don't really know where to see.
But Harris, you can hear me, so that's good. It's
I
not
can.
loud.
Yeah, you're fine. I can hear you. So it's
Good.
yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Just making sure it all works.
I was going to.
Adam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mike. Can you hear us?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Good.
I think maybe for Alexander, he probably wants to click that little button in the top left on the browser to allow the mics and all that stuff. I had to do that when I first joined this. You know what it's like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me? No. We in the private chat. We can't hear you. Okay. All right, folks, let's get started.
I'm so sorry. I actually have to leave because I'm being pulled into a cybersecurity review. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I can't believe there's something more important than us, Harris.
I know, right? Oh, pain. Sorry. I'll be back.
Well, have a good one. Mike, there we go.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining, Mike. All right. So while Alex still tries to fix his microphone, let's get started. I'm sharing screen here. Today, this is Figure Friday number 16, and we focus more on, in this data set, a pet ownership data set. So the average amount of owners per population in any given country of dogs, cats, birds, and fish. So this was not a very long data set. It was actually pretty small and on purpose. They had about 4 columns: dog, cat, bird, and fish, with the percentages of average ownership per country. And then the rows were representing countries. And we had about 20 different countries there. So this was a good opportunity to do infographics, just like the ones you see here on a brief Google search. I added just a regular Dash app if people want to go that route. And we had pretty nice infographics here that were presented. I'm going to load them so we can see them. Mike, I don't recall if you published this one, or we're just going over other ones.
I didn't submit anything this week, Adam.
Okay, not this week. Perfect. All right, so let's get started. Here are some infographics that we can see. I'm going to load them right now because I'm excited about the infographics that people created. We don't do this a lot with Dash apps. We usually create very analytical dashboards, but in this case, it's actually quite interesting, the type of infographics that people created. I don't know, Mike, do you have experience looking at Dash apps as infographics?
I have none. I don't even know what that means.
Well, infographics is more like what you see here, where it's well, you don't see anything yet, but it provides information to the user more with a focus on graphics and not necessarily on graphs. So you will see graphs, usually a 1 or 2, but there's a lot more going on with graphics on top of the graph. So images, pictures, arrows, annotations.
It's like the dogs and cats superimposed on the globe.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, that's
flags cool. Here.
Yeah,
the superimposed icons. So you will, and there's a lot of focus on styling and color, and just providing information through images, drawings, on top of 1 or 2 maximum graphs that we have. So Marianne did this one. Let me see. See it all clearly. And in this one, we have, you can see per country, let's take China, for example, what's the average ownerships of dogs, fish. So you can look at it like per country, and then see, okay, dogs are first for this country versus cats in Russia. They're a lot first, major average ownership. And look at the difference, Mike, between cats here in Russia. There's like 57% compared to dogs, like 29%. So a lot more interest in owning cats than dogs in a country like Russia. Turkey I found the most diverse, with all of them sitting around the 15 to 20 percentage marks.
For Turkey, okay,
Yeah.
very well balanced.
See, dogs 15, cat 15, 16 fish, and then birds. According to this data set, there's more people own birds as pets.
Well, let's not forget, it's a country named after a bird.
But. Yes, that's true. Well, yeah. So that's a good point. And yeah, so I wonder if there's any country that has fish first or fish in the top two. Not really. There's dog, cat, dog. Well, this one is China has fish as second place, and only then cats. So you can even in Korea as well, South Korea.
I would guess, fish are kind of special. They're not like cats and dogs. They don't jump up on your lap and lick your face or anything.
Right.
So it's more of a passive kind of form of pet ownership.
Yeah.
So maybe in countries where space is limited or having an animal pet is not practical, maybe fish is more popular.
Yeah, definitely requires less care, less time. Hey Alex, hey David, thank you for joining. Welcome. All right.
Hello. Can you hear
now
me?
we can hear you. Yes, now we can hear you.
Perfect. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone.
Hi. Good morning, everybody.
So we were just viewing the infographic that Marie Ann shared about cat and dog ownership in different countries. And this one right here is by Esther. Also very pretty infographic. So you see, Mike, the difference? Like there's a lot more like eye candy here. So there's still graphs, horizontal bar chart, and a scatter plot with a trend line, pie chart. But look at the difference. Why this is an infographic? Because you see this cool interactivity. You see a nice.
image. That is so cool. That is.
Isn't that nice?
When you just look at it without interacting, though, it still looks very professional quality.
Yeah.
I think of our USA Today newspaper, which is not considered the top in journalistic standards, but it is a very, very, very good visualizations they give on many topics. And this feels like I'm reading like a USA Today page or something.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. It's more like I could see this used a lot in like data journalism, like you said. It's just easier for the general public to consume, not only easier, just more interesting to consume data this way with, beautiful images of a cat or a dog or whatever the topic is, as opposed to just plain bar charts or scatter plot. It just adds some interest to the story. So I like that.
Yeah, this is an example that shows that even if you're just showing an image, like a static image, like if this is a newspaper page, it would still be very compelling.
Yeah.
Without the interactivity, but the interactivity is fantastic. Jeez,
she uses beautiful colors here as well.
Yeah, what can you say about this? I mean, we give each other's constructive criticism and feedback, and if I was to criticize this one, I'd be speechless. I don't.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say here. Something is off, I think, with the numbers. Like this is correct. I remember from the data set, Argentina has 66% of the population owns a dog. Is the number one country in dog ownership. But then when we go here, dog owners top 5 countries, Argentina is, I see. Okay, I see what she did here. So what she did, she said, okay, let me just take the top 5 countries, Mexico, Brazil, USA, Argentina. And between them, all of them would be equal to 100%. So 24.7%.
Oh, yeah.
Represents
24% of the top 5.
Yeah, of the top 5. So it's just
Okay.
only 7% about Mexico because it's compared to these other 4 countries. But if it was standalone, this would be 66%. Mexico would be, what is it? 64%. So she just did a breakdown of the top 5. So I like what she did here, Esther. Good job. And then she put 66 as, this is a bit confusing to me. Like if I didn't know the data set, I would look at 66 and said, okay, there are 66 owners. So I would change, you see the hover here, I would change the hover text and put owners percentage, or owners : 66 and the percentage sign. Because here it just reads like Argentina has 66 owners. And even 66, it's hard to say that, what does that mean? So I will put 66 overall is 66%, right? When compared to all countries.
Is that what that is, though, Adam? I mean,
yeah, it is. Argentina, if you go to the data set, you'll see Argentina has, let's go to the data set. Argentina has 66% ownership of dogs from their population. See, Argentina 66%. And castrated 2%.
Oh, I see.
You can see here as well.
Yeah, okay.
Where's Argentina?
Yeah.
Here we go. 66%.
Fair point.
Yeah. This is a bit, if there's no context, she did give here context, top 5%. There's no context, like, wait, what is 24/7? I thought it was 66. Why is it 24/7? So that's something that should be clear.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
But other than that, I love it. I love the images she puts. Yeah, she was a really cute cat. I would hover over this no matter what the data set is telling me. I would just want to go into it.
The question I would ask her is, are either of these pets her own pets? Because if I did that dashboard, that would be my dog in the center of the dog side. But
yeah, that would be cool. Self-promotion. And this one I wasn't sure about. Like, for example, here, total dog owners, top 5. So I don't exactly know what the 267 means. Like, I think what she did here, she just added 66, which is a percentage, not a number necessarily. She added 66 plus 64. That would be 130 plus about, let's say 60, 180, 230, and then 29, so 267. So she's just 267. And this is, in my opinion, a bit misleading, like, because percentages, usually I don't expect them to be added to each other. Right. This is average ownership in Argentina, average ownership in Mexico. So they have average ownership of 267 doesn't mean anything, because an ownership should be between 0 to 100. So this is something I would probably remove. She could probably put this, an average ownership of top five countries is 59.7. That's good to know. Like the top 5 countries all have over 50% ownership. Like 3 out of 5 people in the top 5 countries own a dog. But this accumulation of percentage doesn't tell me much.
It's kind of too bad.
Adam, I mean, she could just replace the 267 with just the words average ownership.
Yeah, I think that. David, what were you saying?
So I noticed this when I was looking at the data set. It's kind of too bad the survey didn't include numbers on how many people were repeat offenders, like how many people had more than one dog, a cat, a dog, a fish. Yeah, it's kind of too bad, because we could have done, some other analysis more along this line if we had that with it as well, which is kind of too bad. But
that's a good point. Wait, so David, you're saying that the data set you think might be skewed?
It's not skewed, but you can't take it too far. Like if you for example take one country and you go through the countries and you add across the percentages, right? It doesn't tell you the percentage of the population that owns any pet. Right. It just tells you the percentage of the population that owns a specific pet, and it doesn't tell you if there's multiples. So someone who owns a dog might own 2 dogs, right? Or they might own a dog and a bird and a fish, right? So one country could either be double counted in the data. So those percentages will, in some countries, possibly add up to more than 100%, right? Because you could have somebody who had a dog and a bird, they'd be counted twice. In the survey.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So this is related to this problem of adding percentages, right, or taking percentages of percentages, right? You don't know that cross term, like where you have multiple ownership, right, going on. So
Yeah,
so you kind of have to treat the columns independently. You can't really do too much. You can't really get the denominators you need to do anything else.
Yeah.
Out of it, right? So
cool. Okay, fair point. I like that feedback. All right, let's look at a few other ones. David, I can't remember if you submitted here or we're just looking at others for now.
I didn't. I've only just discovered Figure Friday, and so for 3 weeks I've worked on the problem set, but not been able to get it done in time for Thursday night. So I'm hoping that this week 17 is going to be the turnaround for me.
Good. Good. Where did I put a week 17? Oh, migration. That's an interesting data set. Also could be good for like infographics. All right. Then we have Alex here. Let me put Alex's. Alex, I'll let you talk a little bit about it. And then we have really good. Oh, this one.
Yeah, that's good.
I liked how Farron put here. He didn't put anything on Figure Friday yet. Figure Friday. I mean on live on Python Anywhere on PyCafe. But it's pretty cool how he added the dog. Now I think the size of the image is telling. You see how a cat is almost the size of this dog here, while here the dog and the cat are pretty much the same size, and here the fish is a lot smaller. So it's hard to give feedback when it's not live because I can't really go into the app and see how it looks like with and move it around, because this is presumably a globe that you can move around 3-dimensional. So maybe it's easier to look at, but right now it's kind of hard. My only feedback here would be it's hard to say, okay, where is this dog Mexico? Is this dog on is it the right leg on Panama or Costa Rica? This dog is probably Canada. It's so big. But like obviously here in Europe, the images are so big, like 3 times the 4 or 5 times the size of the country. You don't really know what country they are referring to. So I would either make the images slightly smaller. I don't know if there's a possibility to make the image bigger as you zoom in. So at first they just fill the space of a country, and then you zoom in, you can definitely see the image. But maybe that's happening, and I don't know because the app is not live. Could probably. If we have time at Dan, we can probably try and load this on our computer live and see. Maybe we can do this right now. Let's see. Well, let me pass it on to Alex to present his findings, his app. Where are you, Alex? Alex, so this is yours. You want to share a few words about it?
Can you share, Adam, please?
I am sharing.
PyCafe. Okay, perfect. I from phone, so it's very.
Oh, you're on the phone.
Well,
okay.
Yeah. Well, basically, but it's okay. Basically, what I like with this data set that is very interesting. Basically, what I want to do was let's say a newspaper article, something like that, no? And using obviously the world map to highlight the global pet preference, and also by clicking again and in every country, 22 countries that we have in this data set, basically see what are the info in the column, obviously dynamically in the right column to see the country spotlight and see exactly more or less some specific data about, for instance, the pet preference versus the average. In this case, I use to map, no? The first one is predominant pets using two visual. I like it more the orthographic visual, but the idea is to the people select one is better for match for or what is better for to see, no? Well, and the as I said, and the country spotlight basically highlight the difference is a diversity index here that I use to try to is a measure using ecology or in biology to see what is a huge difference between species in a country. In this case, we have only four species, let's say in that way, and you see all of them are high level of diversity. But obviously, it's like I try to make an adjustment, an adaptation to this case.
Alex,
Okay.
how does this country has high diversity? Australia, balanced preference across types, 90 out of 100. Can you explain not necessarily the math behind it, unless it's very short, but how do you reach this conclusion that it is a high diversity?
Well, but as I said, the high diversity, if you push here in what is the diversity is a count that you make, a measure that you make at the code. You can see it in detail using NumPy and algorithm. It's a proportion that is calculated based on the preference that on the pet preference in that country, peptides more than pet preference, peptides. So in this case, you made the calculation. I made a function to calculate this channel. In reality, the name is channel index. This channel index to see exactly if the high score is from 70 to 100, for instance, is high diversity. Is where the calculation, even though, as I said, even though we are only 4 type of pets in this case.
Yeah.
So for that reason, as I said, if you see all the map is green, meaning that it's a high diversity. No? Maybe that's the reason why I said I was wondering, tempted to include more, let's say, synthetic data to see the effect.
Okay.
Try to see to force low scoring to see what would be the answer. But at the end of the day, I haven't enough time. But it's basically I wanted to enrich a little bit the data set and the visualization to see exactly what can we do with all this type of data. Basically, we know that is, for instance, here in Brazil is very, even though you have birds reported as pets, is the law is very strict about it. So mainly here, what I said, it has a big market for pets is mainly obviously dog and cats. I haven't seen, well, or there are, as on one of you mentioned, is a combination. You have to, one owner can have pets or dogs or cats in the same place. Well, following, you see the global pet landscape. Basically here, I added a phrase for Magandhi to see that's look like journal, etc. In this case, the global pet landscape is, I put here the predominant pet by country. In this set are 14 countries with dogs, 7 with cats, no one with fish, only one, that's it.
Turkey.
Turkey, exactly. Turkey, exactly. Well, and I make a global average based on this data to see what exactly the percentage of pet, cats, fish, and birds globally in using or based on this for 22 countries.
That's interesting. It's almost like what she did here, Esther, with the top 5. She did the average of top 5. You did for average of all 20 countries, right?
Absolutely, exactly. Right.
Nice.
In the regional insight was basically preference distribution by region. I balance a little bit the region because basically most of the country are in Europe, 13 or 12, if I remember. So, for instance, we have Australia. I try to do it by continent, but I say Australia alone. No, don't.
Yeah.
Then I decided to wider a little bit the distribution. I make Americas, Asia Pacifics, and Europe. Try
Nice.
to balance. In this case, Europe always have most country, but I could make another division, maybe Eastern Europe, Western Europe, say like maybe. But in this case, I decided to do it in this way, and also a distribution by region. How about the number of pet by Americas, Asia, and Europe? And if you see in America, 54.2% are dog lover or pet lover or dog lover,
Yeah.
and cat lover, and this.
And
The last one is the as mentioned, the pet diversity by region. If you see the numbers, the lower in this case using this country is 78.7%. So basically, it's exactly what I said. No, we need more country to see more diversity. Is the case.
Yeah.
No.
Alice, so why
Uh-huh.
here the diversity? I'll have to look at the math thing you put up there on your code, but it almost seems to me that okay, here in Asia, the overall diversity is 85, Asia Pacific, but I see they're fairly close to each other. 14, 11, 4, closer than Europe. Europe has like 2 that are very close, dog and cat, and then the rest are like okay, way below it. So I would expect almost the Asia Pacific to be more.
This one of the things that I said is basically used. I think it is biology. I think that when we use it is all species. When we talk about species, imagine here in Brazil a Pantanal or a tropical forest that you have a lot of species. In this case, I think that the Shannon index is more let's say better use. No, in this case, I want to add. But you are right, absolutely. And I think in fact is let's think about it. If we add another country, for instance, let's say 4 or 50 or 100 countries, how much diverse they can be? Well, we know pets, only dogs, cats, fish, and bird. What in other countries you can see, for instance, in Dubai and jaguar or something like that, have a tiger, for instance, but it's not the case. No? And then there is a measure that maybe one score that is taken from biology, like to see what can we do with here. But basically, well, to make or to try to enrich, let's say that way.
Yeah, Alice, thank you for this. David, Mike, any feedback?
Yeah, one question, Alex, that really caught my attention is I noticed that Canada leans towards cats and USA is dogs. I would expect them to be the same, but maybe it's just a minor difference, right? But I mean, I think of Canada, huskies, dog sleds. It seems like more of a dog country, but
yeah.
Canada in the data set is similar, cats and dogs.
Okay.
33,
that's a good thing about your visualization is that it does raise questions. It shows us a lot of things. So that's a very good job.
Okay.
But that kind of surprised me. I would think Canada would be more skewed towards dogs than the USA is. But
it would be interesting to know what the distribution is of population that's urban versus rural, because there might be a bias towards if you have a large population,
that's true.
dogs.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's a
Exactly.
good point.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess on
exactly.
that point, yeah, Canada is a very urban country. I mean, the populations are urbanized, but
Yeah, weirdly,
I
since we have
think.
so much territory.
Are you in Canada?
Yeah, I'm in Canada.
What part?
In Ottawa.
Okay.
Ottawa. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you got an expert
Excellent.
here, but
Excellent. Excellent.
Do you have a dog or a cat, David?
I actually have cat. I actually have a cat. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
okay, you were backing up the data trend.
Backing up the
Yeah.
data.
I'm on
Very
site.
nice.
Yeah. But all my neighbors.
Alex, good job. I really like this card over here on the right to
Yeah,
show
that's
the
very nice.
summary.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
nice job, Alex. By the way, yeah, that is really
Thank you. Thank
great
you.
work.
So this is a feature of infographics that I really like, where you have a central image that's easy to observe, and then you can click on it to dive deeper into the data with the cards and whatever else. I think that's excellent. Like it's I really
Thank
like
you.
that structure.
Thank you.
Yeah. I agree. Click on something, go see all
That's
the
the idea.
stats.
That's the idea. Click on the data and for instance, I like it too much to the other elements, that I set normally in the infograph or a dashboard complement each other. No, I don't like redundant information. No, just one thing is for one and give you complement the story, enrich the data that you, in this case, well, I try to do my best here, but I like it exactly as do it in that way.
Nice. Good job, Alex. I don't think I would
Thank you.
add anything else here. I like how you add the explanation sometimes of what you're doing. This adds a nice good feeling to the story. It's almost like you're doing journalism here, advocating for our pets. And I like that. Like if you have a topic or a data set that means something to you, you add a little bit of your own personal touch to it, which is nice. Usually you'll just do like a scatter plot or a bar chart where you're adding some images, you're adding your own personal touch, what means something to you, could help people adopt more animals. One other thing a person can do here is add like maybe a link to a shelter, right? Here's a Brazilian shelter in case you want to add, in case you want to support the shelter, in case you want to go adopt a pet, not ask for money, but like in case you want to adopt a cat or a dog, the shelter is overfilled, go to this shelter. It could be like a good opportunity, a footnote.
Good idea. Also, as I mentioned, Adam, here the legislation about birds, having a bird or having a pet is the law here protect a lot the pets. And in fact, right now, I think that all the pets are, it's amazing. The clinic, the hospital, it's amazing how people here like and take care about the pets.
Yeah. I'm going to add this data set that we talked about. This is, was it Thomas who created this one? No, Farron. Farron created this one, which was hard to see just as a static image. So I put it into PyCharm, this whole code, and I just ran it because I had Plotly installed and Dash installed, and he grabs the data here from the raw data, so I don't have to convert any Excel sheet. And it just ran on my computer, and this is the result, which makes a lot more sense, right? Now we can see that it's actually, oops, let me run it again. It's not a Dash app, it's just a Plotly graph or a map. Okay, there you go. And it's actually it's a good size. Right now we see this belongs to Spain, this belongs to France, this belongs to Italy. It's a lot easier to see, and it's actually a column, right? Dogs first, or whatever's first, and then below we have, in this case, the cat, fish, and let's see, Turkey, who has a very, very similar, I think, diversity. You see, they're all pretty close to each other, and they're all almost the same size. Canada should have the same thing. here in Poland, is it? You see the dog is a lot bigger with 45% compared to 12%. So the size is relative to the percentage of ownership, which is kind of cool. And then lastly, Canada, dog and cat were very similar. So you see that they're almost on top of each other if you zoom in. And there's no, I don't know, Canadians don't like birds, David. I didn't know that. At least cats and dogs. Really nice. Unique way to put this infographic. I really like it. Aaron, I wish you were here to show this to us. It's really cool. Okay, let me see if we have any other infographics. So we reviewed like 4 or 5 different infographics. I think there's the only one we didn't see was Thomas's. Oh, here it is. So he put cards on top as a summary. Average cat ownership, dog ownership for 33.6. See what Alex has, 33.6. Average global ownership, 27.2 is for cats. 27.2 is for cats. So he did the same thing. And then he made cards for each flag for each country, which presumably I think they're clickable. And then there's the choropleth, and then there's this. I didn't say anything on the form, but I think it's just repeated information. So I would do one or the second. You see how he has cards here on top: dog, cat, fish, bird, with the average global ownership. Well, this graph tells us exactly the same, right? Dog, cat, fish, bird, with exactly the same averages. So I mean, it's I guess it's easier to see the differences in a bar chart or a histogram here. You can see that there's dog ownership is first, and then cat, and then fish. But I kind of like the cards even better, so I would just leave the cards there instead of duplicate information. Now, if this was an interactive bar chart, we didn't run the code. If this was interactive, if I chose a country and the bar chart changed, then that makes sense. Then I would keep it. All right, folks. So those were the infographics of today. I really liked. Where is everybody here? I can't see everybody. Okay, I really liked how people used Dash and Plotly to build infographics and type of charts, dashboards for this data set. You might be able to do something similar for the migration data set that is released for Figure Friday 17, just released a couple of hours ago. As you can see here, we have this migration data set from the UN. The UN data set is a lot. It has 2024, 2020, 2016, all the way back to 1990, I think. It has female and male. I just took this, broke it down for simplicity. If you want to see all the data set, you can go back to the UN and download it. But in some countries, UN depends on the countries reporting the data to them. So some countries don't necessarily, like here in Afghanistan, right? People who are going from or origin from less developed regions to destination to Afghanistan, and then you'll see the number 72,000 in 2024. But 72,948 also is here and also is here and here. So something is off with this data set. Something that Afghanistan, when they reported this data, or the UN offices in Afghanistan or whatever, then it's obviously something is not accurate. It can't be the same number from middle income as less developed, unless all these countries are the same, but presumably they're not. Low and middle income is probably different countries, and low, middle, and low developed, and so on and so on. So take it with a grain of salt. It really depends on the clean. It's authentic, but the countries and how they report the data. Some data might be missing, some might be duplicates. But what I did is I studied one country, right? And I said, okay, let's just give me Peru. And you can see by the code here is I just broke it down for Peru. So I went on the destination Peru and the origin Peru, right? Because there's 2 columns. And from that, I calculated the flow to and the flow from, and then I built this tree map right here. A very basic tree map with to Peru and from Peru. So that's one way of tackling data set. You can tackle the data set with multiple countries. You can, instead of focusing on, there's going to be some data slicing here, data filtering that you're going to have to play around with, but you might want to do only focus on low-income countries, middle-income countries, to higher-income countries instead of country per country visualization. Regions, right? You can focus on regions. Africa to another continent, US to Africa, US to Asia Pacific. So different ways you can tackle this. You can definitely do infographics here. You can do a map. I don't know how easy it is with maybe there's Plotly maps, there's a dash leaflet, but a map with lines, right? Maybe the thicker the line, or the line that goes from one continent to the other, and colors. So there's many different ways you can tackle this. Take a look at this article. They had a really nice way of an interesting visualization of showing all of this. This article was based on this data set, and they show this, how to read what's next. Source, the same source. A country's Aguayo shows data on the migrants that welcome from within the region, and it tells you how to read it. The columns show the countries of origin, and then the amplitude shows how many people migrated. So then they have for each one of them, see, Venezuela to Argentina, Peru to Argentina. I've never seen a visualization like this, so it's kind of interesting to look at it. Maybe we can try and replicate this visualization. All in all, in my opinion, I don't know what you all think, but if I have to, this is a really cool visualization, right? Because it allows a very good comparison. I don't know personally if I would use this, because I'm not a person reading this article would not be able to know how to read this. We would need an explanation. Okay, column is amplitude is number, column is country, and so to get the person to actually read about the graph and how to read this graph, it's cool if you're interested in learning new graphs. It's a great educational opportunity, but I would want my graph to be self-explanatory. You're looking at this graph, you understand what you're looking at without having to study about it. I appreciate what I did here because I learned something new, but I wouldn't necessarily put this on like my New York Times article if I know more people are reading it. That's my take. But yeah, I hope to see everybody submit something for this next data set. David, I hope you are able to build something out. I know 5-6 days, it's not necessarily a lot of time. But everyone remember, we don't have to go crazy, you know, as long as you show it, you don't have to build a Dash app, you show 2 or even 1 graph. Yeah. Perfectly.
I'll get there.
Cool. And share with us on the forum on Discord, and we can help each other out while we're building these graphs. Kind of cool. All right, everyone.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. I'll see you next week. Oh, don't forget, we have next week, we have our hangout on next Wednesday. We had a Plotly meetup yesterday. Don't forget, we do Plotly meetups virtually the last Thursday of every month, which was yesterday. We talked about new graphs that people create in Dash apps and what's happening with the Dash documentation. And every last Wednesday of the month, we have our hangout. Next hangout, we're going to have a person from Tesla, a junior software engineer from Tesla, to talk about the Dash apps that he creates and how he creates, and a lot of very technical insight.
Thank you. Excellent.
All right, folks. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.